YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War, Warhammer 2. We're going to be jumping into Rakdu Ridge. That is a weird name. Weird name indeed. This is going to be Reptile King taking on Pomo, and Reptile King representing his much beloved lizard men. And then, of course, we have the Dawi on the other side, so let's see whether this will be a Dawi victory or a grudging. Got a gyrocopter with brimstone gun, gonna be some slayers, quarrelers in the back with a flame cannon, very interesting choice versus the lizard men. And some pterodon riders coming down this flank. Let's look at the main line of the lizards. It's gonna be Saurus warriors, makes a lot of sense. What else would you bring? And the Saurus warrior is gonna be backed up by a skink chief, and he is riding on his stegodon. And then over here we got Mazdamundi on his little floating portageon. And then we got the Bastillodon with the revivification crystal. And already the Dawi cannon has opened fire. And the flame cannon can do some good damage to infantry if it's accurate enough. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I've seen this thing absolutely own, and then I've seen it absolutely blow. That's gonna work right there. So yeah, the pterodon riders ought to do well at tying down the gyrocopter, I would think. These are fire leech bolas, and the other one's just a standard with the poison rounds, so... Doesn't look like the fire leech bolas are going to be fantastic in a ranged fight there. So some of the Saurus warriors are already driven crazy by the flame cannon. It's picked up 7 kills, but I mean, taking a whole unit out of the fight, basically, before it starts. Longbeards going after Saurus warriors. I mean, Longbeards don't have a lot of attack, but they are packed decent with armors. These are just standard warriors here. See how the dwarf player takes the fight. I mean, the dwarves just don't have a lot of offensive weaponry here. But Saurus warriors not exactly made for armor killing either. See what happens. Flame cannon looks like it's going to target the Bastillodon now. I don't think it'll do a whole lot. I would think it would go ahead and rather be targeting some of these units coming in from the flank. We got some slayers here going to intercept the Saurus warriors. I would think Saurus warriors would do pretty decent versus slayers. More slayers coming in from this flank. They're going to just bypass the runesmith, and the gyrocopters actually did a decent job there. Well, actually, I think it was the support from the quarrelers, actually. So Mazdamundi doing some buffing of his lizards. Ruination of cities. That does a little damage. And then the feral cold ones here took a nasty hit and went berserk. These ones should actually make it to the quarrelers. That'll be a nice use of these units here, tying down a whole lot of quarrelers. These fire leech bolas could be useful to get in, like, just right behind some of this fight against the dwarves and do a whole bunch of infantry damage. Saurus warriors doing actually pretty darn decent in this fight, and again, not terribly surprised by that. We got Grombrindal, the crazed white dwarf here. Let's see here if the skink chief, he that's kind of weird, he charged up like, oh, I'm gonna get you dwarves, and then he just decides not to, and decides to knock Grombrindal off his rocker there. So, dwarves in trouble here. Their skirmishers have gotten caught, but they still have a lot of infantry left. That's gonna be their main remaining threat. Mazdamundi just hanging out, trying to play it safe. I would think the skink chief and the Bastillodon ought to be able to cause pretty tremendous damage to the Longbeards. This one's not charging though. Skink chief is sitting still and acting really weird. It's either doesn't have an attack order or it's not actually attacking, one of the two. I can't tell. Oh, it's firing at something. It's an artillery specialist, so never mind. He's using this thing right here. Taking down the gyrocopters, that's what it is. That's what it is. I missed that. My bad. I'm not well read on my lizardology here. Some of these quarrelers came back from routing, and these cold ones need to kind of try and ignore that, ignore the runesmith and go for the quarrelers. Try and take them off the battlefield before they lose fast-moving units. The Stillodons are wrecking the Longbeards. That's to be expected. Here comes the banishment off of Mazdamundi. It's going to get a hold of some of these dwarves here in the center. Dish out a little bit of damage. He's got 15 kills. He's still just kind of sitting over here biding his time, staying alive, letting the infantry do their thing. Flame cannon's been firing away. It's got 62 kills, but it's firing over here into a blob that's probably more dwarf infantry at this point than it is lizardmen infantry. Quarrelers aren't going to do a ton of damage to the dinosaurs. Another ruination of cities. Not a lot of damage there either. Couple kills maybe. Mazdamundi's the one who'll actually be a little bit vulnerable to the Quarrelers because he's only got 45 armor. He's just a big, soft, squishy toad. These Quarrelers trying to stay away from the Saurus Warriors, but the Saurus Warriors staying right on their tail. Let's check it here. Still quite a few dwarves left in the center. Skink Chief is taking quite a bit of damage here. It's the brimstone guns. They're right on the very edge of their range, but they're firing at it. So the Lizardmen lost a lot of units here. Feral Cold One's getting back into a few of these Quarrelers over here, but the Quarrelers will probably survive. These Quarrelers here have been a nuisance because they've just been running and running and running. I think they're slowly kind of going to get caught here. So let's see what's left. Mazdamundi, Skink Chief. Skink Chief is getting healed. So that revivification crystal is going to be a big problem for the dwarves. They're out of ammo on their gyrocopter, so a lot of their anti-large is gone. But there are still some Quarrelers left. Mazdamundi is trying to stay away from Grombrindal. Mazdamundi magic attacks, but he's got very low attack. And he doesn't have armor piercing, and Grombrindal is very well armored. Grombrindal's wanting to take an axe to you-know-what here. Look at him just kind of floating around. He got hit by a flash bomb, so he can barely move. Yeah, those Quarrelers are gone. Fresh unit, or fairly fresh unit of Saurus Warriors here to come and support the dinos. And the dinos pretty much owning for now. They don't have a ton of kills, but they've dealt out a lot of damage. The Pterodon Riders getting back here and keeping these Quarrelers busy. Quarrelers are badly needed for taking down Mazdamundi. Mazdamundi is going one-on-one here with Grombrindal. Actually looks like Grombrindal might be taking the worst of this at the moment. Let's check this out. I mean, he's not causing a lot of damage for whatever reason to Mazdamundi. It says he's attacked in the rear. Does Mazdamundi know where his rear is at? So yeah, these Saurus Warriors are going to be a problem. All these tired dwarf infantry are going to take him out. Okay, now Mazdamundi's getting his butt kicked. Let's see, the revivification crystal came back. Well, I don't know how in the world this is happening, but Mazdamundi's just still kind of hanging in this fight here. Grombrindal's still got 1,293 hit points, though, and not surprisingly, Mazdamundi's not landing a lot of hits on him because his melee attack is so low. Let's see what happens here. Runesmith's getting punted around by the dinosaurs. Well, I would think that he wants to get out of this fight with Mazdamundi. Grombrindal's hit points are just barely moving. He's going to use his Shield of the Old Ones here, and then... Oh my goodness! Holy cow! Did you all see that? Grombrindal got, like, KO'd by the Skink Chief. That was crazy. He got absolutely knocked out and then, like, filled full of bolts. Look at that. Wow, I was like sitting there thinking like, man, Grombrindal's gonna win this. Or not. Or not. Holy cow, that was crazy. That's King Chief just completely owned Grombrindal. Like bad. Real bad. So, yeah, the dwarves are losing to these Saurus Warriors over here. At this point in the game, the Saurus Warrior is just going to have more melee attack and more weapon strength. The Dawi are going to be exhausted and not causing all that much damage. So let's see what happens here. There are Quarrelers here, like I said, with a little bit of ammo left, but we got Cold-Blooded going over here. The Revivification Crystal is still alive. I don't know how many times it can heal, but I do believe it's limited these days. And it looks like the Skink Chief's just going to sit back and fire at these Quarrelers. I guess he could do that at this point. Yeah, he's going to come chase them down. I was going to say, yeah, it probably makes the most sense to just chase them down, because then they can't fire. That was crazy what happened to Grombrindal. Runesmiths are going to come over here. The Bastiladon is going to rout. Mazdamundi's still alive. That's going to be the end of the Quarrelers. And the Dwarves are going to start losing the power bar here pretty quickly. Let's get in here close and check this out. So it's going to be a pretty close fight in the end between the Dawi and the Lizardmen here, but it looks like the Lizards are going to take this one away. Lizardmen with no Kroq-Gar. Gotta love that. Kroq-Gar is ridiculously good. He is pretty darn good. So this should be it. I'm pretty sure the Dawi are going to lose their leadership here at any moment, because the power bar going to what it is. So we'll check it out and see. Oh man, look at that. That Runesmith got caught right between two dinosaurs charging at the same time. That was brutal. Absolutely brutal. So, fun battle. Thanks for sending that in, Reptile King. Makes me realize that I actually need to play the Lizardmen every now and then, man. So, hope you all enjoyed this one. Appreciate you watching. If you want to subscribe, please do so. You'll be kept up to date with the newest battles, newest campaign episodes. Also, keep an eye out for streams. They're going to be coming Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Tuesday and Thursday, they'll be in the evening U.S. Central Time. Saturday, it should be in the afternoon U.S. Central Time, so that it'll be early evening for Europe. And anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out. See you soon.